Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Global Book Network. This is the show where we sit with authors and ask them about not only themselves, but the craft. My name is Lobo Boyce, and well, I always say I'm excited to have a special guest, but this one here is a particular level of excitement because we have an actual poet here. We're going to trade notes, techniques, and more. Please welcome the author of the book Drops of Wisdom. Being able to talk about that today, Evie Y. Parkinson. How's it going? How's life going?
Good. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much. I have to say, yeah, this is my first poetry book, Drops of Wisdom, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity here to talk about it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and absolutely talk about it. We will, but we were actually talking about something else before we went live. That you currently we are like separated by like four different time zones. You are currently living in Trinidad. How is it feeling like being in paradise? Talk to me.
Uh, yeah, a lot of people call it paradise because once you say the Caribbean is the paradise, right? So I actually live in the smaller island, which is Tobago. So it's Trinidad and Tobago. And
Okay.
Trinidad is the city island, and then Tobago is a natural island. So yes, I like more natural lifestyle. I want to be around nature. I want a quiet life, and so that's why I'm based in Tobago right now. For the past 10 years, I've been based in Tobago.
Man, I never
It's
been.
very quiet. It's
I never
quiet.
been, but I bet it's a lot of ways to be one with nature. Like, do you find ways to connect with nature on Tobago Island?
Of course, it's like you cannot not connect to with nature. You know, it's like it's in your face. It's like you get out of you step and you have the beach there, and you step and you have a waterfall, and you step and you have a tree, and you. So that's what I love about this, and honestly, that has um watered me and helped me grow into the this like thanks to all these years being here it has been a very internal growth being in this place because it's not a lot going on outside. You don't have a lot to do externally. So if you are in your own healing and personal growth journey, that's what you do. That's mainly what you do, going internally, you know.
Yeah. In fact, I'm so glad you said that because that was actually my next question. In the book, the collection, Drops of Wisdom, there is ongoing through lines of wellness and balance of self. And I was going to ask if that was kind of like a compounding, more gradual relationship with you and the nature around you, or was it kind of more of a point in your life and you said, no, I want to be able to express myself specifically and literally on the written page?
No, it is a lot. It's my life. It's the life. So in the book you see these three chapters. So we have healing, then transformation, then love. So
Mhm.
the idea of that connectedness uh, is that from healing we go through transformation, then we get to love. So the goal is to be love, to get to love. So love is like the baseline of who we are, what everything is. So that's when you touch the spiritual a little bit, even if you don't have any belief, it doesn't matter. It's just love, and everybody knows love in their own way. But I think after you go through healing, transformation, the idea is to love yourself more or get to unconditional love love life, love nature, love the universe, just love is like the root of it.
Yeah.
So yes, the life that I've chosen is shown in my poetry. Nature is shown in my poetry. My healing journey is shown. And not only that, but from the people that I know, the stories that I know, from my work as a therapist. So yeah, I know a lot of different stories of healing and transformation that also inspire me. Not only mine, but that experience as well.
I'm so glad you mentioned love because that was a question I had going through it. Because I feel like everyone has a working definition, but at the same time, it's a raw emotion that can have many different layers. Did you learn something about your relationship with love when crafting this?
You mean before, like? to
Yeah.
write it, or while I was writing it?
Yeah, while you was writing, you like discovered like other layers of other ways to interpret love that you hadn't even thought of before or encountered before.
Yes, I think so, because the way that I write poetry is a way that I write poetry. One of the ways is that it I use it as to process my own emotional internal process. So
Mhm.
when I'm going through experience, whether it's loss, pain, or love, that for me is love, then I write it. It helps me write it, and then that helps me process it, and then the poem comes out. So that, I think that while doing that, yes, I'm sure as I open up and allow the words to come out, after I write it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is like an insight that comes from inside. And then when I read it, it's like, oh, okay, yes, it gives me an information about love that maybe I didn't see it before. So through going through my own process and putting it in the page, then I read it and I get like a different perspective about love, specifically in those specific poems that I got about love.
I love that. I really do. Because one of the things that you've noticed, maybe even explicitly or implicitly, there is experiences, some may call it trauma, some may call it pain, that can help trigger both the transformation sections and the love sections as well. And I don't
Yeah.
really come across anything that seems overtly defeatist. You go, hey, look, pain is a part of it, trauma is a part of it, but there's something on the other side. It's kind of inspiring, and I appreciate your approach to that.
Yes. So that's the idea, right? So the idea is the connectiveness is that, that it's not all pain, it's not all trauma, it's not all suffering being a human, because, and that's another point very important about this book, that in today's world, for me, just to put something that has a little bit of inspiration or self-reflection, or that it makes you connect as humans, because the thing is that emotions connects us as humans. That connects us as humans, because all humans feel emotion. There's not
Mhm.
one human that doesn't feel emotion. So that connectivity there is what I feel is important out there, because when you read a poem and somebody else read it, and you all have your own experience, your own perspective on it, but you connect emotionally, and maybe you get insight in your own process, and maybe you get inspiration for your own life. But it connects you in a way that is like an universal subject. So pain is a universal subject. A trauma a heartbreak is a universal subject. Nature is universal. Any love for a pet, or love for your child, or love for your spouse, it's universal. So what it does is that connects us as humans.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think this is very needed right now
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, say less. Every day I look at the paper, I'm like, well, not the paper, the website, or the paper. I'm an old man, but I look at on a news site, and I look at a blog or whatever, and I go, man, it does feel like every day we are getting more and more internal. The walls are growing up. We're not engaging as much anymore. We don't share our feelings as much. We kind of just
Yeah.
doom scroll and keep to ourselves. You know?
There's a huge disconnection here. So we become very robotic in our relationships, even in person sometimes, and even close relationships are supposed to be close. We can get really disconnected here because we are very afraid of being vulnerable. So
Hmm.
it's a huge fear to be vulnerable because you don't want to be hurt. And so all of this is just, it's just for us to accept, I'll get to accept in our own time and our own process, that I also feel that. I also feel sad. I also feel hurt. I also feel vulnerable. I also feel happy. I also feel like a child. I also feel insecure.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's okay. That's being human. And just by accepting that, that will connect you in a deeper way with another human. Just from there, you connect immediately, because we all come from that. It's like a base internally.
See, that's interesting because I'm with you. I feel like, yeah, there is like this fear of being hurt. If I, in romantic love, if I had a bad breakup, I don't want to be in that
Yeah,
situation again. Or if I
again.
was hurt at doing an extreme sport, like in my case, at my age, jumping and my knees hurt, I'm not doing that again. But
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is a kind of a thesis there that if you try to protect every aspect of your emotion in life, you don't get to live. And I do think that's something that we are doing more and more, you know?
Yeah.
There was a situation I had. I traveled to Portugal, first time in my life.
Oh,
It
nice.
was like a dream vacation, you know.
Oh, nice.
And travel bucket lists are a big thing. And I felt an emotion that I just couldn't describe. And it was like 3 months ago, and I still remember how I felt seeing the dark waves of the Atlantic Ocean, but me being relieved that I actually got to check something off my bucket list. But then at the same time, sad it's going to end. And it was this ball of emotions at once. I got to ask you, as a poet, sometimes you come across things that are complex. Like, how do you sift
Yes.
through that to convey that to your audience?
Well, that's like just what you said there. That's like the raw material for a poem. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is the raw material. If I am there and I'm you feeling that, and it's a lot of things. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling so many things, and it's like almost overwhelmed. That's when I sit and I write. I sit and I write. It's just it comes out. So, but I'm not thinking. I don't write thinking. Poetry, I don't think about it.
Oh wow.
It just comes out. So that there is like just write it wherever it is, and because it's this thing coming out, and I just start writing and writing, and it's there, it's out, and then I read it, and I'm like, whoa, that's cool, I like it. It's like, whoa, because it's really, it's so interesting, Flogo, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not an ego thing. You see, it's not about me. It's not just me. That's why it's so universal, everything. It connects you in that raw feeling. And that's why when you read poetry, good poetry that is written from emotion, you can connect. You
Yeah.
connect. And you don't know what it is. You just connect. It's like, okay, even if I haven't had that experience, I kind of connect. But so the way that comes out, it helps. That's when I told you it helps me to process my emotional internal depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's helping me because I'm just letting it out without thinking. And then when I read it, it's like, oh wow, that's, I like it. I usually like it because I'm not thinking about it, I'm not editing it, I'm not touching it. It's like coming from source. It's just source energy, is raw. And then sometimes, yes, there's some edits that I need to change a word. Oh, this word doesn't make sense here because this is my second language, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So so sometimes it's like, okay, let me see if this word means what I think it means, right? Because
Right.
sometimes it sounds good, and in my head I'm meaning this, but then it's like I check it out, I Google it, and I'm like, it does mean this? And it's like, no, that doesn't mean what I mean that I want to mean. So it's like, no, let me change it. So
Right.
that's where the rational work comes after in that case.
Okay. So I got two quick questions. So you write exclusively in English, or do you write in both languages?
I have been writing in English, especially poetry, for some reason in English in the past few years. Well, I've been living in an English country for most of my life now, but it just comes out in English, the poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But lately, in the past year, I've been consciously and intentionally wanting to go back to write in Spanish, like poetry in Spanish. So I've written like two but I have to kind of switch and be like, okay, I'm gonna write in Spanish and feel it out and then see what comes out. So but I will write more in Spanish in the close
I'm
teacher.
kind of jealous. I asked that question totally selfishly. Like, I've been studying Spanish for 20 years, and my Spanish is like
Oh,
isn't great. It
en
isn't great.
serio. Well, we can do
Yeah,
learning
yeah,
Spanish
yeah. I
and
could
practice.
try. Yeah, I could try, but it'll be pretty bad. Yeah.
But
So
what do you mean 20 years?
yeah,
In what kind of context? Like
Twen-
where? Online?
yeah. So the first couple years were in school, in formal education.
Mm,
Then I study abroad in Costa Rica for 6 or 8 weeks. 8 weeks
oh,
during the World Cup. And then I live in Los Angeles that has a high speaking population of
yeah.
French speaking Americans. And now I'm taking classes. I'm watching content in Spanish just to understand it more, especially from the sports side or the deportes side, because I cover sports as well. And one of
Wow.
these days to write a passage in Spanish without like looking at the book and seeing if I conjugated verbs correctly is
But
kind of a
you know,
dream.
you know how it is. You have to practice it.
Yeah,
You
practice.
just
Oh, that's
have
so much
to.
work. Oh,
Yeah, you just have to. That's. It's just as anything that you do. It's just
yeah.
it's that. That's all.
Effort. I guess. No, you're absolutely right. Theater's on his own, right? But the other question I have is that you say when you're inspired, you write. So do you carry a book with you all the time or an app all the time with you?
Um, no, but what I've been doing is if I get something, I just write it on my phone. So I have notes, the notes in the phone. I'm always typing the things because the phone, you always have it. Sometimes I carry my notebooks, but I think I got used to writing in the phone because it's so convenient right now to have it all the time. But when I was growing up, it was like that. When I was growing up, I didn't have a phone and none of this existed. So,
Right. Right. Yeah.
so I used to write in napkins. I used to write a piece of paper. I used to like get, these things that they give you when you buy something, a receipt.
Hmm.
I would just be sitting and this thing will come because it just comes. And I would just in a piece of paper and a pen and I would just write it. And I would keep all these pieces of paper in my handbag, go back home, and then I would pass it to my notebooks.
Yeah.
So I will have all my notes there from whenever I got it. A piece of toilet paper, I don't know, whatever, just and take it with me.
I,
So that's how I did it growing up.
I'm cracking up because kids nowadays don't understand that not everyone had a cell phone. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. Back
Uh,
then, no, I didn't know no cell phone, but it was so cool. I'm so happy that I grew up without a cell phone. By the
yeah,
way, I'm so happy for that. Yeah.
I've learned to. At the time, I was like, "Oh, come on, mom," but now I appreciate it. um,
Yeah, it is.
I hate I dislike when we have poets on podcasts and the host goes, "What's your favorite poem?" So I'm not going to ask that. But what I will ask is something that happened to me when I was writing poetry, where I had an intent to write something with a certain emotion or a certain feeling, but the result was something even greater than I had imagined. Now, has that happened to you when making this copies collection? Was there a poem that went like, "Oh, whoa, this hit bigger than I thought it did"?
Right, right. Um, that's a good question. Maybe, but I don't have the specific one. Like I can't remember a specific one, but maybe because when you are in that thing, that flow, you just da 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 da, and then when you read it is when you actually get the whole thing, like the whole picture of it. So probably, yeah.
Yeah. And when you are balancing the real world, you do help others in other aspects of your life, and you're creating this. Does one feed passion to the other? Is it kind of like a loop there?
Maybe, sure. I mean, I think the experiences that I have gotten or received from my clients in therapy or coaching, healing work, I think inevitably those experiences, just from me knowing how humans feel, because you see commonality. So with that work as a therapist, psychologist, coach, you work with a lot of people from many different places, backgrounds, culture. So you see a commonality. You see, oh my God, this is something we all suffer about. We all long for this. We all feel this. So I think so, yeah, totally that has informed this collection at least, and then I have a second collection coming as well that I think it's all I feel universal subjects, things that connects us all somehow.
Yeah. If there's a way that we can put one foot forward and try to heal ourselves or get one close step to appreciating love, is there anything we can do today to get on that path?
To get,
On that path, that one step closer to healing or to love or anything like that.
I would say wherever you are, you can just start coming back to the present,
Hmm.
to your body, to the present, to your life, where it is right now, to the people you have close to you in your present, and be aware of yourself in the present. Breathe, breathe, be in your body, and just that will take you wherever you need to take next step. Very simple.
That is advice for life. Evie, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today to talk about the book. That's fantastic that we're able to connect
Thank
and
you.
just share more about it. But you know how we say at the end of these things, if someone were to get a copy or want to get a copy of the book or even connect with you, how should they go about doing that?
Yes, so the book is available in Amazon, in Barnes and Nobles, in Booktopia, in Waterstones, and Foyles. Um, all online, you can get it. And then I have my website. My writer's website is EBY Parkinson. I guess we can put it in the description, so it's there. And then my work on my business website is Harmonious Infinity. That's what I founded. That's the healing area. And I have those two websites, and I have Instagram for both, for the writers and the also Harmonious Infinity with the same name, Evie Y. Parkinson.
I am so impressed that you were just like, man, I just feel it and it goes through me and I write and I make it happen. And that's so great because I think a lot of times authors try to think so much about the right word or the right feeling
Yeah,
that sometimes you got
yeah,
to give yourself a chance to let it go.
yeah, I agree.
Once again, thank you so much for spending time with me today. When that second collection comes out, I want you back on the show for sure.
Sure, thank you.
Cool, cool, cool. And don't leave me.